I know. We know. Good morning. Hey, can you hear me now? Good morning. Woo! There we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Reverend Emily Bruce, and I'm the minister here at First Parish in Kingston. Thank you all for being here. I know you all must be tired from all that marching yesterday, so thanks for coming to church this morning. As Unitarian Universalists, we are a people of diverse beliefs, but we share a common faith. A faith that every single person is worthy of love, a faith that what we do in and for our world is what really matters, and a faith that we are connected by an interdependent web to each other and to our earth home. So whoever you are, whomever you love, however you make meaning out of this world around us, you are welcome here with us this morning. Today, I am grateful to welcome Claire-Karl Müller from UU Mass Action back into our pulpit. Some of you who've been here a little while know that Claire-Karl has preached for us a few times, and their work with UU Mass Action helps to coordinate the many intersecting justice movements at work in our congregations across the state. I also know they've been very hard at work helping to plan and carry out yesterday's Boston protest. So they say they're not tired. I think they are, but I'm also just really happy to have them here with us today. So thank you for being here today. In our service, we are talking about liberation and joy, specifically for our transgender and non-binary siblings, and how their resilience in the face of so much resistance and oppression is an invitation and a teaching for the rest of us, a teaching to be good allies, a teaching to recognize our interdependence and to work collectively, because, as we know, all of us need all of us to survive. So I'm looking forward to the word that Claire-Karl will offer us this morning. We will begin our service, as we do every week, with some time of grounding and centering. So I invite you to first silence your cell phones if you have not yet, and check if you think you have, and thank you very much. Get comfortable in your seat, uncross your legs, feel your feet firmly on the floor, feel your back against the pew, rest your hands wherever they might feel the most comfortable, and join me in taking a deep breath in and out. Bless you. Let's do that again. In and out. Whatever stress, whatever heartache, whatever worries you are carrying, try ever so gently just to put them down and relax into the peace and belonging of this space. Again, one more deep breath in and out. And let our worship begin. We will begin, as we do each week, by lighting the chalice, which is the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. Would anyone like to come up and light our chalice while I share some words this morning? Kaylin, come on up. Know what you're doing. Thank you. Just blow it out and put it right there. This morning we light our chalice with these words entitled "Until All Means All" by Reverend Erica Hewitt. The chalice, as a symbol of Unitarian Universalism, arose as a beacon of hope in an atmosphere of tyranny. The chalice arose as a sign of promise that the marginalized would neither be forgotten nor ignored, because they are beloved and precious from the perspective of the holy. This morning, we remember all of the people who have been told explicitly or implicitly through police violence or government policy, through derision or dehumanization, that they're anything less than whole, anything less than beloved. So as we light this chalice, may we make of our own lives a beacon, a symbol of our promise to draw the circle wide, a sign that we will not rest until all means all. Come, friends, let us worship together. I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit for our opening hymn, Where is Our Holy Church?, which is number 113 in the gray hymnal. We will sing the first 3 verses. Will you join me now in the spirit of prayer? Spirit of life, God of love, great mystery of this universe. Today and in the days ahead, help us ground ourselves in what is true and in what is life-giving. In the wide embrace of the love larger than any one of us, we hold all those in need of healing in body or mind or spirit, that they may find some relief from their suffering. We give our attention and our thanks and our celebration for the joys of our lives, joys that remind us just how much there is to be grateful for and how many blessings are in our midst. We lift up those places of injustice and brokenness in our world, Gaza, Ukraine, and every place on this earth where unjust oppression is exerted upon the innocent. Today we pray for all countries and territories affected by the tariffs imposed this week by the current administration. As the global economy is affected, we pray especially for those smaller and poorer countries who will be hit hard. And we pray for the many foreign heads of state who are reeling with the loss of the country they once knew as friend. In the same breath, we say a prayer for our own country, for its economic stability, and for the many who will suffer economic hardship under these policies. We say prayers of relief and gratitude for the resilience and resistance we saw on display this week, from Senator Cory Booker's 25-hour stand against policies of hatred, division, and greed, to the millions of us, and it was millions, who took to the streets yesterday claiming our rights as free citizens to voice our dissent, to demand action from our representatives, and to assert our right to lives of liberty and justice for all. We give our thanks for this earth, which never abandons us, returning with new life in the spring, heard this morning in birdsong and seen in the early flowering of forsythia and daffodil, to draw us out of our winters of isolation and despondency. Finally, we ask with humility for the continued courage, creativity, and compassion to help create a world where all people have access to the gifts of life, where all people have access to the gifts of this beautiful planet, Earth. In the name of the great love that passes all understanding, Amen. Let us now hold a few moments of silence together. Please join now in singing once more, Voice Still and Small. Our reading this morning is a story written for all ages by the Reverend Jamie Hinson Rieger, who serves as senior minister to our congregation, First Parish of Bedford, Mass. I'm aware that, with the exception of maybe Ansel, there are very few children in the meeting house today, but I think we can all benefit from a good story, and I love this one. So, this is called Brown Shoes Are for Boys by Reverend Jamie Hinson Rieger. In the land of Pazad, which is not so different from our own land, and in a time not so long ago, these were the rules for the children at school. Be kind, study hard, don't chew gum, share, and most important of all, boys must wear brown shoes and girls must wear red shoes. Those are the rules, and everybody followed those rules. Now, Timmy didn't like brown shoes. They made him feel blue inside. He had always wanted to try a pair of red shoes, so one day he did. They looked so good on him, and they made him so happy inside that he thought, I'm going to wear these to school. Surely no one will mind. Well, somebody did mind. Everyone seemed to mind. The other kids laughed at him. The adults frowned. Timmy's teacher sent him to the principal's office, and the principal sent him home. Boys wear brown shoes and girls wear red shoes, and those are the rules, the principal said. But red shoes make me happy, said Timmy. What are you, the principal said, some kind of troublemaker? I'm not trying to be a troublemaker, Timmy explained to his parents once he got home. Brown shoes just don't feel like me. Red shoes feel like me. They make me happy inside, and I just want to be me. Timmy's parents told him, you wear whatever shoes you want to school, and we will support you. So the next day, Timmy went back to school with his red shoes on. Some of the other kids teased him, but mostly they were kind of amazed. The adults still frowned. The teacher sent him right back to the principal. If we let you wear the red shoes, said the principal, then every boy might want to wear red shoes. Well, what would be wrong with that? Said Timmy. The principal frowned and sent Timmy home. The next day, Timmy went back to school with his red shoes on. The adults frowned. A few of the kids teased him a little, but also there was another boy wearing red shoes. His name was Tommy. I've always wanted to wear red shoes, Tommy said to Timmy when they both ended up in the principal's office together. But I didn't have the guts to try until I saw you wearing them. The principal sent them both home. The next day, Timmy went back to school wearing his red shoes. Tommy was wearing his red shoes. Some of the children teased them. The adults frowned, but also, Tammy was wearing a pair of brown shoes. I always wanted to, said Tammy, so why not? Brown shoes are for boys and red shoes are for girls, the principal patiently explained. I just want to be me, said Timmy. The principal sent all three of them home. The other kids, though, watched them leave. And they began to say to themselves, this doesn't seem really fair. The next day, Timmy and Tommy wore their red shoes, and Tammy and Teresa wore brown shoes. The adults frowned. The children cheered. When the principal sent the four children home, an astounding thing happened. All the other children left with them. They walked out of the school right behind them. If they can't be here, we're not going to be here, said the children. Nothing like this had ever happened before. The teachers and the principals got together for an emergency meeting in their empty schools. Boys wearing red shoes and girls wearing brown shoes. Was such a thing even possible? That evening, the school contacted the parents. And they said, from now on, children could wear red or brown shoes, as they liked. Please, they said, please come back to school. The next morning, Timmy was so happy to be at school in his red shoes. I just want to be me, he smiled. I just want to be me, said Tammy in her brown shoes. And I just want to be me, Terrence said. They were wearing a pair of bright purple sandals. Go Terrence. And the principal stood in the hallway watching the students in their brown shoes and their red shoes and their purple shoes and their green shoes, shoes of every color of the rainbow. And the principal thought, what color shoes should I wear tomorrow? The end. When we give, we say yes to something we value. In this congregation, we take up an offering each week to say yes to the values of our UU faith and yes to this beloved community. Today, our offering will be given to UU Mass Action. Founded in 2005, UU Mass Action is the Massachusetts State Action Network, organizing and mobilizing 20,000 Unitarian Universalists and 142 UU congregations to confront oppression and create equity in Massachusetts. As UUs, we are called to put our values and our principles into action. Together, we create a just world by confronting systems of oppression. UU Mass Action's role is to organize UUs to work collaboratively and collectively so that together we can create the change we seek. Their core campaigns include environmental and climate justice, decarceration and ending solitary, economic and housing justice, immigration justice, and indigenous justice. You may place your offering in the plate as it passes, or you may give to the church via Venmo. There is a QR code in our order of service, just a little bit of instruction. If you do decide to give via Venmo, please make sure to write one of two things in the memo line. If your contribution is part of your annual pledge to support the church, please write pledge in the memo line. If you are not giving towards your pledge but want your donation to go to UU Mass Action, please write plate in the memo line. Please give as you are willing and able. Your offering will be gratefully received. And our offering today is All You Fascists Bound to Lose by Woody Guthrie.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm gonna tell you fascists, you may be surprised. People in this world are getting organized. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. You bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. There's people of every nation, they're marching side by side, marching across the fields where 1 million fascists died. You're bound to lose, you're fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Say it again. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. Oh, race hatred can't stop us. This one thing I know. Your poll tax greed and Jim Crow greed have got to go. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. You bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. You bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. You bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose.
Thank you so much for that music. So good. Good morning. Thank you so much for the invitation to come back. It's not so much a secret, but I think you all are my favorite congregation. So my name is Claire-Karl, or Karl Claire, or Claire, or Karl. As a non-binary person, I have flexible names, and you can't do it wrong unless you try to give me a nickname. No. And I use they, them pronouns, and I'm the movement building director at UU Mass Action. Recently, it was Trans Day of Visibility, which is a day founded in part to balance Trans Day of Remembrance in the fall. And as part of my visibility as a trans non-binary person, I want to speak today about how much joy there is embodied in transhumans and the liberation that we represent for ourselves and for everyone. Because my goodness, we need joy and liberation right now, more than ever. To get to that, though, I need to tell you my gender story to make my journey visible. So first, my gender lineage, my gender role models. So I am assigned female at birth. And so growing up, the people in my life who modeled for me what being female has deeply impacted me. To start with, my mother's mother, my granny. She should have been on Broadway. She was a hot ticket. And while she was alive, she was the beating heart of our family gatherings. Born in 1929 in Philadelphia, her life was shaped by marrying my grandfather at the onset of World War II and making her way to being a secretary. As I understand the gender binary of her times, being a secretary was a common, acceptable job for a working class woman ascending to the middle class. Of course, she wasn't allowed to wear pants at that time. And while she was growing up, the parameters of acceptable womanhood, femaleness, were obviously way more intense than what I grew up with. But that's not at all what I learned from her about gender. When I knew her, I knew that she found joy in glamorous gender play. And she modeled it to me as play, not as a rule. You see, there's an iconic photo in my family from a Thanksgiving around 1990. My granny is 61 at that time, and she has just learned in the recent years to tap dance. And so she's recruited all the other women in my family, my great aunt, my mother, my cousin, to put on gold lame, top hats, fishnets, and tap dance, a choreographed dance that she made in the front of my living room for all of our Thanksgiving guests of joy. And I'm there in the front. I'm about 5 years old, I'm actually facing the wrong way while they're high-kicking this way. And I have my hat. I'm like, what are we doing? This is so fun. That's the joy that Granny brought. She instigated family lip sync performances, that she would wear wigs and crazy costumes. I mean, there was just so much laughter and joy. There was leopard print, there were rhinestones and giant 80s clip-on earrings, but none of it in like a serious way. It was all meant to be a let's have fun while we're alive kind of way. And when she died, I inherited that wig collection, those 80s clip-on earrings, and I aspire to embody that much joy in my life. And one of the things that I think I want to name, that I really learned out of that, is that clothes are really just costume. My own mother, here in the front, modeled a different type of being a woman, being female. She hardly ever wears makeup. She swears a healthy amount. And I remember as an adolescent, balked at the time when I was like, I think I want to try shaving my legs. I got the why would you do that answer, but she let me. Again, this message that these things are not rigid, that playing with clothing expression, it's a costume. This was my family norm. And in middle school, when I was trying to figure out who I was, I literally tried on different kind of cliques. I remember one day, I'll go to school today as a jock, and I'll have soccer shorts and sneakers. And then the next day I decided, I want to try goth. And I had flame Doc Martens in all black. I just got to play. I don't remember feeling constrained by my femaleness. And I am endlessly grateful for that. And I give thanks to the feminist movement that also made this type of thing possible. For anyone in this room who was part of that movement, thank you. Thank you for pushing for gender equality for all. And so in 2015, I started dating a non-binary, trans-masculine human who used they, them pronouns. And perhaps you've had this experience around when you've met and made a relationship with someone who uses they, them pronouns, you begin to think about it more. Like, what is this? And I began to question more deeply the gender binary. I realized that there was nothing about being a woman that I found to be logically real. And I soon realized that being a they, them felt like a path I wanted. I had no idea how much it would transform me. Choosing to be a they, them, giving myself the family name Karl after my father's side. How much it has liberated me, truly. All those norms around what it should be to be a woman. I was affirming, those don't apply to me. And this, to me, is the nugget on why trans and non-binary people build on the gender liberation work of the past and continue to push it further. Women are no longer just allowed to wear pants and be secretaries. You can literally be anything. Being a woman is both a real thing and it's entirely constructed. Anyone can choose to be a woman or choose not to be. Everyone in this room, you can be a man, a woman, a gender fluid person, an agender person, a demigirl, a demi-boy, androgynous, pangender. The list literally and actually is endless. Everyone is invited to be free with us. And I will say that this is exactly why Trump and Musk and the super rich oligarchs destroying our democracy for their own enrichment are obsessed with attacking us. Recently, Black trans woman actress Laverne Cox said, "You know, the Republican Party spent $215 million on anti-trans ads in the fall election. And if you watched, you would think that the last election was about trans people and immigrants. Executive orders limiting our rights, 26 states banning gender-affirming care for young people, banning us from the military, from bathrooms. There's this whole anti-trans thing. And yet, trans people, we are less than 1% of the population." And she adds, "They're trying to distract you from noticing the real 1% to be worried about." Trans people, we embody freedom. If anyone can be a woman or anyone can be a man, then how will they keep the rest of the population in line? How will they enforce their gender expectations on the rest of you? If trans and non-binary people are allowed to exist, it is an existential threat to their control. Our joy of being our authentic selves is a threat to their domination. The uber rich, the 1%, they want us to all be divided, unhappy, exploitable. And along come these fabulous, joyful people, transgressing these rules to demonstrate a piece of collective liberation every day just by how they walk down the street. How dare they? You bet I will. We exist. We always have. We always will. Wherever there are rigid categories or boxes trying to shove humans into rigid categories, there will always be humans born who carry attributes that check more than one box, or neither box, or the opposite box than expected. We have and will continue to be born into every kind of family. Our joyful embodiment of freedom cannot be erased. We are inevitable. I feel this spring arrival right now is reminding me, you cannot stop the spring. You cannot stop trans and non-binary people from existing, from embodying our authentic selves, which in itself is the seed of joy. Our very existence demonstrates a wholeness, a goodness, a solemn call to everyone to embrace your true self. Non-binary poet and comedian Alok Menon says, "Every breath of a trans person is a miracle. And winning is living. And the reason that trans people are persecuted is that we remind non-trans people that there's a crucial distinction between existing and living. And most people are just existing. And by which I mean they have a mechanical function to a lung or a heart or a fist, but they're living someone else's fantasy of who they should be, a shell. They bartered their dignity and mistook their calcified grief as an identity. And so, when they encounter the richness, the abundance, the transcendence of trans people, they have to remember that The Walking Dead is not just a TV show, it's a lifestyle choice. Which is why I believe the Trump-Musk regime's class war on all of us has made a critical mistake in targeting trans and non-binary people. We embody abundance. We are like the daffodils and the crocuses, promising a new season. More and more young people across the planet are claiming transness, claiming non-binariness. And by shining their light upon us, you're literally revealing that truth more and more. And so I believe our movements are more likely to win because of this shining of light on trans joy, because we are rooted in love. We love our neighbors, we love immigrants, the planet, our rights of free speech, democracy, and justice. And by targeting trans and non-binary people, they have invited the resistance movement to center us. We infuse this moment and this movement with our joy, and that is going to backfire on them. Successful movements need joy. They cannot just be fueled by anger and horror and grief. They also need song and dance and laughter and good food and a vision. It is the love and the joy in the community that will sustain us. And so they will regret ever coming for us. We are resilient. We are incredible. We are gorgeous. Since high school, my mother and I have joked that my true gender is middle school art teacher. I'm nailing it today. Wacky, fun, smart, colorful. Some of you can't see it, but I'm wearing rhinestone boots right now in honor of my granny, always. And I'm currently serving for UU Mass Action on the steering committee for the MA Fights Back table, on the steering committee for the Boston Hands Off Coalition. And I do this ever striving to bring my full self as a non-binary human that refuses to go back into the gender box. Everyone in this room must make their own risk assessment for how visible to be in your resistance. But every bit of shine that you're able to show is light in the darkness. And so I invite my trans, non-binary family and all of my allies, please come find me in this movement. Look for me at the press conference, the protest, the State House, or the potluck, the coffee hour. With my bright colors, my rhinestone boots, and maybe a bit of leopard print for my granny. And know that our joy together is what will keep us together through this time. And I want to be explicit to every single one of you. You are invited to gender liberation, to be truly who you are. Have you found your gender freedom, all of its fullness? Can you follow the trail that we have blazed for you? We must show everyone that our joy will never be taken, that those fascists are bound to lose. And so may it be claimed every day, pronoun by pronoun, middle school art teacher outfit by outfit, in small and large rebellion. Blessed be.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Claire-Karl, for that very moving sermon. Before we sing our closing hymn, I do have a few announcements to share. If you're visiting us today, we invite you to join us after the service for coffee hour in the Beale House across the street. Be sure to check out our Info Island table over there if you want to sign up for our newsletter and learn all about who we are and what we do. Also, you may notice the Beale House has some interesting elements inside of it. That is because True Rep, the theater company that rents our space, is in the middle of their production of Waiting for Godot, which I saw last night. Holy cow! It is a lot, and it is wonderful, and I encourage you all to see it. It is funny, it is challenging, it is dystopian, it is a lot of things. But many of you know Don Sheehan, who's the artistic director of True Rep. He stars in the show, and he is a revelation. Very, very talented. I've never seen him act before. So it runs today at 3 o'clock and then next weekend. There's a flyer on the door over there. So if you are interested in being challenged and seeing a really interesting piece of theater that was written by Samuel Beckett in the 1950s as a response to what was going on in our world at the time, it's still very, very relevant today. So I encourage you to see it. Next Wednesday, or this coming Wednesday rather, April 9th, is the next monthly contemplative worship service that will happen right here in our meeting house at 5:30. This month's theme is There is a Balm in Gilead, and all are welcome to attend a 30-minute service of prayer, contemplative music, and silence. Finally, don't forget, the lasagna dinner is coming up on April 19th. Get excited. There will be really good food. There'll be a silent auction. There'll be a live auction. And there'll be a lot of fun. So you're all encouraged to attend. Everything you need to know is in our newsletter. Now I invite you to rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, We Would Be One, which is number 318 in the gray hymnal. Ourselves
heaven drops away along the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream need to come true. If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why